Hello, hello. I wonder who's out there listening this evening. Well, it's this evening in the UK, London. You're live on 109.2 FM. This is PRZ FM, and you're tuned into the Together Forever show. And I'm one of your co-hosts, Victoria Ogunsanya. And I have in the studio my lovely husband. Can you introduce yourself, babe? I think the listeners haven't heard from you in a while.
My name is Hade Ogunsanya, and it's good to be back here on air tonight. This is PRZ 109.2 FM here in the UK.
Yes, and we are back here together forever. I think last time I was here, I had a call-in, and the time before that, we had a split show. I think we were talking about Easter. So it's been a minute, us doing it together forever, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been missing you, our listeners. It's so great to be back in the studio. I don't know what your weather's been like, but we've had lots of rainy blessings and rainy showers, even though we're in the month of June. But we are glad to be here once again. We've missed you, and we are looking forward to a good topic today. It's going to be nice and relaxed and a relevant one to us all. We are going to be talking about fatherhood from a black man's perspective, and who better to help us discuss that than a black man who's a father. He's a wonderful father right next to me, my lovely husband Adekunle. So Adekunle, can you tell us a little bit about your experience of being a son and what that was like for you growing up? Maybe give us a bit of context, where you grew up, your family. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, being a son, if I could remember, well, I grew up in Nigeria. I was born in Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria, and then precisely in a town, Ile-Ife. It's been called Ile-Ife. If I remember, we are four in number, and then three boys, one girl, as at that time. And yeah, being a son as at that time is quite good. It's lovely. It's something interesting. It's something that I enjoy. Most especially when I was still small, being in primary school. I could remember every day of the week. For example, Monday morning, we get rest. Mom because make sure we are ready for school, and then before we know it, Daddy pick us up and then take us to school. When it's closing time, he pick us up as well. We come back home and eat, and then he took us to evening lesson as well. We normally have an evening lesson somewhere. So
this is nice.
And when he will drop us, and when we finish, we come back. He knows the time when we about finish, so he will come back and then pick us up as well. So that goes every day, and at times he might say, okay, maybe we didn't have lesson that day, or if it's a weekend, he might take us to a cinema. In OAU there is there's a complex that is it's a cinema house, and where he will take us, and then we watch film, we have fun. Or at times he might say, okay, let's go out and eat, and then we take us to then they call it buka, so yeah, or cafeteria or something. So nice. Where we eat. So yeah, I believe it's fun. It's fun. It's just that you can't stay being a child. You can stay being in the. You can be in the in the. In that age or in that thing forever. So, but yeah.
Well, we do have our Father in Heaven who has no grandchildren, so we can always be our Father in Heaven's baby. I'm my Father in Heaven's baby. But that's really interesting, babe. I mean, you spoke about him picking you up. You knew exactly what time you finished. He would take you to extracurricular activities. I didn't really know all this, and it sounds like you've implemented a lot of that. And I mean, I usually take the children when we do the morning run. You'll pick them up, and I guess I'm seeing now why you find that so easy to do. You used to take our son swimming on Saturdays. So is that something that you feel you picked up from watching your dad? It sounds like a very close, loving relationship. I can just see your face lighting up when you're talking about it. So
Yeah, I guess so. And then even apart from that, is as a father, is something you need to do for your children or for your child. So that if my dad didn't do such thing for us now, as of today, I won't be remembering it. So I hope one day when my sons grow up, he will say, oh yeah, I could remember when daddy used to take me this, daddy used to pick up from school, and daddy used to do. So yeah, I think it's something nice and it's something memorable as well.
You said sons. We have one son there.
Yeah, for now.
Hey. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not sure of that too. Anyway, I know my prayer, but anyway, it is well. Okay, so how would you say your father grew up? Where did he learn that from? I mean, yeah, can you tell us a bit about his childhood?
I wouldn't say he learned it from anywhere. I don't know, because I know him as he grew up in a polygamous family whereby his dad had 6 wives, and then well, I don't know how many of them. But he happens to be the second born of his dad. So I wouldn't say his dad take them all into those innocent, but yeah. But I believe, well, because he used to tell us, or even his dad used to say, oh, they grew up in the village where even before they go to school in the morning, they might have to trek 5 miles before they on their feet. Nobody's going to drop you. Or at times you might say, oh, you have to go and pick something in the farm before you go over to school. So they will have woke them up early and then do whatever they do. But I wouldn't say he learned it from somewhere. I think it's just a thing that is developed as a father. And I believe maybe when he looks back and see the way he was brought up, and he didn't want his children to be in such to face such situations too, maybe.
Yeah, powerful. You always want better for your children, isn't it? And you learn from what your parents did well, try and continue that, and maybe what they weren't able to do as well because of maybe their understanding or their resources or what was available to them. Then you try and build on that. So continuing on, you as a father, what have you wanted to implement, and what have you wanted to implement that your dad did that you thought, yeah, I want to keep this on? And what did you alter, and what has the challenges been for you being a father in the UK? So you grew up in Nigeria, childhood in Nigeria, very, very happy, loving, being provided for. Your dad was the second born, and I think he used to look after a lot of his siblings, so a lot of people looked up to him. So I beg your pardon, everyone. So how has it been, the difference between him being a father, and yourself?
Yeah, I think I picked some of the things he did for us as a father, looking after his children, make sure he gave them the right education, he gave them the necessary or the basic things of life where they don't even before we ask, he has already provided things for us, or give us because he knew that, oh yes, they need this, or so he will have done that. Even we don't know when he will pay our school fees. We just go to school. We doesn't have any concern about paying schools, or no, we didn't have any thought about it, and school uniform or anything. No, if they said, if by the time they give us report, they need report sheet or things we need to buy, we just give it to him before we know it. Except he didn't know our size, and I said, okay, let's go together. So those are the things I've learned from him. He's a loving person. He's a loving father. He's caring. He look after his family. He look after even people around him, his siblings and all that. And I believe through that, God bless him, and then I believe too as a father. So I want to be in such a situation whereby I will be able to look after my kids, my friends, my people around me, my siblings, and to provide for them as much as I can do. As a father.
Amen. Powerful. Thank God for Daddy Ogunsanya, who is a wonderful father. He is a wonderful father to me. And my dad is late. I lost my dad just over 10 years ago. So this is going to be the 10th Father's Day that I'm celebrating without my father. Sorry, everyone. I think the weather is just kind of taking its toll on me. But I am well in Jesus' name. Amen. So my childhood was a bit different. My father was very loving, but he wasn't always there. And I think when he was there, he provided to the best of his ability. He also, like my father-in-law, used to take us out, buy us clothes, buy us ice cream, spoil us, laugh. We had a very, very good communication with him, but he would be around for 18 months to 2 years and then gone for 2 years. So it was always very strange because we had to get used to him and be like, oh, dad is here. Okay, we know dad, we love dad, but we'd have to get used to him, get to know him. And then by the time we were enjoying him again, he'd be gone. He was a musician, so he traveled the world. He had many homes. Life of a musician is not always, so he had lots of women, lots of children everywhere. So it's quite a different narrative. So he was loving, but he was distant. So I just wanted to ask you, in terms of how you saw your dad being, so you saw him with your mum and your mum only, even though he was coming from that polygamous setup that he had grown up in. Do you think that has enhanced your view of marriage? Because I don't know if you remember, if you listened to the show with Dr. Carol, we were talking about struggles that black women have in finding a life partner, especially in the diaspora, particularly UK. Do you think that maybe not as many boys seeing their mothers being loved by the fathers, being with the fathers, being married to them, affects them?
Yeah, I believe it affects most of them, maybe not all, and because the reason why I said maybe not all, it depends on the mother as well. But most of most homes, or it affects them, because if there's no father or if there's no male, it will be difficult for the child to listen to their mother. At times, a mother might say, "Oh, do this," but they won't do it because the weight which the words carry is not there. Because if it's a father, they will say, "Oh, yeah." It's that.
Tell my dad.
The fear will be there, but but compared to the mother, whereby it's mommy, don't worry about his mommy. But as a father, the fear will be, oh yeah, daddy can do this, daddy can beat me, daddy can smack me, or anything, something like that, or daddy can punish me. So if there is the role of a father, if there is no father or absentee father, most of them, it's really affects the children, and then it's something which is not really encouraging.
Yeah, so you were talking about them having the fear, but I don't believe it's only fear of smacking. But I think when there is a father that has an expectation, that loves you, you don't want to let that father down. And I remember you telling me that your dad used to say to you every morning before you left the house, remember the
son of who you are.
Right, remember the son of who you are, which to me was really profound. And I think it even depicts why we even want to behave as Christians. It's not necessarily because we're so good, we're so righteous, but because we're so grateful for all Christ has done, and because of his character. We're his ambassadors, and we even when we want to misbehave, it's like, Shebi, they know me as a Christian. I don't want my father's name to So that is so profound. And also the other thing I wanted to add is so true. Young boys, they need their fathers. It's like, whatever I tell my son, he'll be interested, we'll talk. We even talk more than he does with my husband, just because our personalities are more similar. But if I'm telling him something new, I mean, he's kind of calmed down a little bit. Before, he'll just be like, oh, okay, nice. Let me ask daddy. It's like, but I've told you this thing. It's like, I want to ask daddy, is this thing true? Because the way they have just been wired is that whatever their dad tells them is the right thing. Whatever, good or bad. How daddy treats mommy is the right thing. Good or bad. So you see the responsibility. Because you talked about the weight of the words. And which is why the weight of the words. God has enabled them. There's something in every child that wants to be admired by the father. There is something in every female that wants to be affirmed by a father. That's why if the father's not in the house, it's likely that the teenage girl, she will become sexually active younger. She will dabble into things. Whereas if the father is there affirming her, it's not just any father, but the right father, life is different. And I can even see that in my own life in terms of even just the choice of men. Before I was married, before I would really trusted God and said, God, you know what, give me this spouse. I obviously don't know how to pick rightly. I trust you. And the person that God picked for me, even though I love that person, I love my husband, I wouldn't have been able to pick my husband. I wouldn't have had the wisdom to see what was in my husband. I had to literally trust God and say, God, I've been picking wrong. And all the time I've been picking wrong, when I'm picking, it looks like, yeah, this makes sense. This is the choice. But God knows. God knows. God knows. And even the type of men I was picking men who were not interested in me. I was picking men that it's like they wanted to be around part-time. And remember how I described my dad? Very loving, but he was around part-time. So he'd be there 2 years, he'd be gone a year and a half. He'd be there 2.5 years, he'd be gone 3 years. So in my mind, I've subconsciously told myself that somebody who loves you and protects you is very nice, but they're not there all the time. So you see that it's a warped view of fatherhood, and God had to really break that down. Even when getting married, it was very weird. It was like, oh, I love my husband, but why is he there every day? What's going on? What's going on? And you know what is really sad? In those other relationships, even though they were the wrong fit, I saw how I destroyed them. It's almost as if the guys would be there, there'd be no issue, and then I would create an issue so that purposely he would get irritated. Because I was not comfortable with just having somebody there all the time. It was like, what is going on? This should be daddy that goes after 18 months and comes back. So I was creating drama that did not needed to. Do you see what I mean? All these unhealthy patterns because of what I had looked to. So God really had to break a lot of things down in me and show me who he was as a father. Even in the prayer life. Oh, maybe God has gone away like my dad. No! He's always there. So, I don't know. What do you want to say to that, babe?
Yeah, I think it's because of what you grew up with. Because, myself, the way I grew up, I saw my dad been there always. Even both weekdays, weekends, he will always be there. So it's been something I didn't know anything different compared to you're saying, oh yeah, your father will be there for 2 years, you go for 1.5 years. So I didn't experience that, but I believe maybe what I grew up with is part of what it has an impact in my life as well, whereby even to go away from my kids, I found it difficult as well. So if what you grew up with or what you know is it's going to be the same thing that is going to be manifested, because that's the only way, except you be seeing something else different that is okay, is this right, is this wrong, or am I the one that is suffer? But until you discover that, or until you know such thing, you won't be able to identify, or you're able to know which one is right or which one is wrong.
It's so true. And I think for me, even to relate with God, literally thinking that, oh, God has maybe gone for a while now and I'm alone. How do I now manage? How do I now hustle, look after myself, protect myself, defend myself? And then now moving into marriage where, oh, this man is always there. Oh, okay. It's just very, very different. So what should people do that they didn't have a father? I mean, that I've just spoken about it from a female side. Would you say that it's worse from a male side, or what do you see? What would happen? What needs to happen there? You haven't had a dad. There's nothing that man can do about it. So what should he do?
Yeah, if it happens to a boy, which if he grew up without having a father, it might affect him along the line, whereby even if when he to grow older, and then when it is time for him to become a father, he might not be there for his own children, for his own family, which because that's what he knew, that is what he grew up with. But at the same time too, we see like I said, mother too as a role to play. It depends on the way his mom bring him up. Oh, despite the fact that your dad is not there, that doesn't mean you should follow the footstep of your father. His mother should be able to put him in the right place, or teach him in the right way. This is how it's supposed to be. Because your dad or your uncle or anybody did this, that doesn't mean that's the right way. But you, if you want to be responsible, if you want to be a good person or a good father in life, this is the line you're able to take. So I would say it affects some, it doesn't affect some as well. So it's 50-50.
Okay, but do you not feel that they still need a pointer, an example, a reference point? So I want to be a man. I've never experienced a man. I'm growing up. One day I'm going to be a father. I've never had a father. What should they do?
Yeah, like it take the grace of God, and most especially if they are a Christian, it's only God can help. If they pray to God, I believe God should be able to direct them and put them in the right way. We see the Bible is there. If you look into the Bible, we see the role of a father. We see Abraham teaching his children in the way of the Lord. Before. We see different people teaching their son in the way of the Lord. So
Paul, Timothy.
Yeah, we see how they grow up as well. So as a son, we just have to, like I said, if your father is not there, you have to look for somebody, a grown-up person which he is responsible, where you can lean on to, that can help you, can teach you and guide you in the way that you will be able to mistake as well.
Amen. That's powerful. And even as a female, I mean, like I said, my father-in-law is a wonderful dad. Even though sometimes we don't see eye to eye, I know that he loves me, and I know that he's always there. I can always call him. He's when I'm around him, I feel protected. I feel safe. I feel celebrated. I feel feminine as a woman. I feel like, oh, that child again, and that's really important to have. In the Bible, the example I really love, and I never really thought about it in this way before, but as you were speaking, it came to me. Moses and Reuel, or Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. We don't hear about Moses' father because, of course, he didn't grow up in his house. He grew up in the house of Pharaoh. Yeah. So he was under, maybe, I don't know, Pharaoh would have been an uncle to him. Anyway, it's a different culture, and Pharaoh wasn't necessarily connected to his purpose. But then he goes into the wilderness, and Jethro, if you read about Jethro is just an amazing father-in-law. Jethro, it really is. He's not of God's people yet, but even after they leave Egypt, he's able to still come and bring wisdom to his son and say, do leadership this way. You're going to get worn out that way. So I think when you're talking about, does God provide fathers even in the flesh? He does. And I really just thank God for the life of Jethro, because I don't know how Moses would have carried out his assignment without that man.
Yeah, if not for the help of his father-in-law, he might have run out. He might not even be able to achieve what he achieved. And then, like I said, we just need to rely on God, and then look for people around. Like I said, role model people we know they doing well, or they doing what they ought to do as a father. Amen. So we can lean on to them, be around them, learn from their steps, and then. Cool. Yeah. Amen.
So I just want to give a wonderful shout out there to all the fathers, whether you're married, whether you're single, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're a granddad, most especially to our black fathers, because we know they have things a little harder. We know that society is always beating down the black men. So for the black men who are fathers and are doing their best to provide, to protect, to preserve, to bring out the best things in their sons, I just want to salute you, and I salute you, my husband. You've been a wonderful father. You married into fatherhood. So you married into having a young daughter. My daughter took her on as your own, and you were there. So I just want to salute you and say, God bless you. The Lord honor you. And even I want to give thanks to the life of my father as well. Thank you, Lord, for my father, who he did his best, and there was many things I learned from him, even though he wasn't always there. I love the way that he gave me that grace to be a person and to always talk to him. I felt very free to talk to him, and he celebrated my uniqueness, which is not something that is common. Being a female child, he's an African man, so I really appreciate him for empowering my personality and just giving me that grace to be unique. And I want to thank God for my father-in-law, who is awesome, wonderful, wonderful grandfather, wonderful father. And I also want to just thank God for the father that he is, because he fills those gaps. He is there for us. If you didn't have a father, he is the father that never fails. He will always provide. Trust in Jesus, give your heart to him. He will heal all the pain, and he's done it in my life. All the pain I went through of not having my dad, not having my parents together, all the many things I went through, even in my marriage, adjusting. He's just been the awesome father, and he's going to be everybody's father. As many that receive him, he has no grandchildren. So if you haven't made that decision for Christ, I would tell you this is the best father. If you're going to celebrate Father's Day this weekend, then God the Father. So do you want to tell us a little bit about God as your father, Abba Father, as we round up? 2 minutes we have.
Yeah, God as my father. He's been there even when my biological father is not there. God has been there. He's always been there. He's a God. He's a father. He's a friend. He's somebody who I can run to anytime. Amen. He's somebody who I can call on to and he will hear me. He's somebody who has been there, like I said. When each time you call on him, each time you fellowship with him, it gives you joy. It gives you hope. Yeah. It gives you strength. It gives you a future. You know that yes, my future is secured in him. In as much as you know him as a father, in as much as you call him as a father, he will always be there and he will never let you down. I'm imploring you today, as many people that have not yet known him, many people that have not even acknowledged him as a father. It's never too late. It's never too late. It's always there. And I'm sure if you call on him, he will answer you and he will be there for you.
Amen. Amen. So happy Father's Day, coming up to the weekend for you men. And this is us done. We are completely out of time. We will see you again in 2 weeks. You've been live on the Together Forever show. I'm your host, Victoria Ogunsanya.
And my name is Hade Ogunsanya.
And remember, together we are stronger.